Nation of Jake, one word. Subscribe to the Nation of Jake on YouTube. You can watch the show live. You can watch a replay of the show. It just stays up there forever. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at NationofJake. Or don't. Doesn't matter at this point. What matters is you're here now. And we're here together on this Monday, August 26th, year of our Lord at 2019. Cloudy, gray, overcast, 84 degrees. Quite pleasant outside. Might inch up to 87 or so for today's high. Thunderstorms in the forecast for tomorrow. But we need to focus on now. We need to focus on the now. You know why? Because it's now, and we're here. Once again, in the Nation of Jake. Tropical Storm Dorian. Everybody's looking towards this tropical storm. It may become a hurricane and headed towards Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, the last thing they need is another hurricane. They are still recovering from Hurricane Maria. Hopefully that does not happen. And there are some people asking the question, should we nuke it? Should we nuke the hurricane if it should become a hurricane and that way we could dissipate the hurricane? I mean, are nuclear warheads the way to fight hurricanes? I don't know who's asking this question. Allegedly, Donald Trump asked the question as to whether or not we should nuke the hurricane. And he denies it. He said, I didn't ask that. That's untrue. That's fake news. But there are people who swear up and down the President of the United States asked about nuking a hurricane. But he's not the first one. In fact, at this point, the scientists are weighing in on whether or not it would be beneficial to nuke hurricanes. And so, because the scientists are now involved, we'll get involved in just a little bit. What about nuking a hurricane? Should we nuke it? That's the big question that we will answer coming up in a little bit here in the Nation of Jake. Also, the Memphis Battle Mayoral is just over 1 month away, October 3rd. So you think about it, we got this week. We got Tiger football starts up on August 31st. Then we've got September. And then you got 5 weeks away. We're looking at the Battle Mayoral. All right? So, there's one candidate in the Battle Mayoral pretty much says if you're a Republican, you're not welcome in Memphis. In fact, if this candidate is elected mayor, pretty much get out of here, Republicans. Memphis is for only Democrats, and at that, progressive left Democrats. It's a bold strategy. If I'm elected mayor, I'm not the mayor for everybody. I'm only the mayor for people who agree with me. That's coming up in a bit. We'll tell you who that candidate is. Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, we don't do a lot of sports here in the Nation of Jake. However, Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck, 29 years old, has retired from the NFL. And it's a big story because he's triggered a bunch of stupid and awful reactions. He's 29 years old. He's young for the NFL. As a quarterback, hell, Tom Brady is going to be 42 or something, and he's still playing, going strong. Just won a Super Bowl. Andrew Luck, 29 years old, he's had enough, and people are freaking out. There are a lot of people who are judging and criticizing a guy for doing what he wants to do with his life and career, and it's become national news now, this guy's retirement. I do not understand why so many people have such strong feelings on whether or not this guy wants to play football, but they do. And we got a ton of other stuff here on the show today. We got my Rubik's Cube update. I'll tell you about my progress on mastering the Rubik's Cube. I've also got more details on the Breaking Bad movie. Last week, we brought up that Bob Odenkirk, in an interview, said, this Breaking Bad movie is done. Well, when's it coming out? I'll tell you when it's coming out, what it's called, and also where it's going to take us. And we've got all the latest headlines in the news crews all coming up. But today, over the weekend and into this week, we're talking about, of course, what else? What Donald Trump is saying at this G7 summit. You know, a few years ago, nobody really cared about the G7 summit. I think I was in Pittsburgh one time for the G7. I happened to be there in my travels, and the G7 shut the whole place down. It was hard to get around. It was terrible, and I didn't care what anybody had to say at the G7 summit. It may have been a G7, G8. I don't know. It was a big old summit. The president was there, but I didn't really care what was going on. I didn't hang on every word. And I still don't like to, but because of the business I'm in, we end up hanging on every word of the president. So Donald Trump over the weekend talking a lot about trade deals. I think he cut a trade deal with Japan, which is not the same thing as China. A lot of people think Japan and China are the same place. They're not. But he did cut a big trade deal with Japan, which is positive. He also was quoted as saying that he regrets the escalating trade war with China. And then he went back and said, no, that's not what I meant. I regret that I didn't make the tariffs bigger. So he has no regrets over this escalating trade war with China. That said, today's headline is that Donald Trump at the G7 summit, and by the way, there are all kinds of videos online. Donald Trump in Biarritz, France, pretty much in front of a microphone the whole time. So you're going to hear a lot of sound bites and a lot of stuff from Trump about the environment and about trade, about international relations. I mean, this is a big international summit going on in France. The latest is Donald Trump says he trusts China's sincerity on trade talks. They want to make a deal. He said at a press conference at the G7 summit in France, with regards to negotiating a possible deal, he thinks that China is acting in good faith. He said that Beijing was genuine in their offer to negotiate a trade agreement. Now, on this news, Donald Trump just saying that he believes China is acting in good faith and they want to make a deal. On this news, the stock market goes up 200 points. All right? Just by Donald Trump saying it. China hasn't said anything. In fact, I think China has said, "Hey, we're not going to the table. Like, Donald Trump has invited us to the table, but if he continues with this trade war, escalating these tariffs, then we're gonna hold firm." So Donald Trump merely saying that he believes China wants to make a deal. He says, I do. I think they want to make a deal very badly. I think that was elevated very late in the night. The vice chairman of China came out that he wants to see a deal made and that it wants to be made under calm conditions, and I agree with him on that. I do believe they want to do a deal. Then he said President Xi over there is a great leader and a brilliant man, while warning that a trade war would break down the Chinese system of trade. He says, I'm not sure they have a choice. I don't say it as a threat. Meanwhile, the United States, who has never collected 10 cents from China, will, in a short period of time, have more than $100 billion in tariffs, so I think they want to make a deal very badly. So, Donald Trump coming out today saying, I believe China wants to make a deal. Stock market goes up 200 points. Now, look, regardless of all these details, or whether or not China is on board, the fact that a president, not just Donald Trump, but any president, has enough power that what he says in front of a microphone, based on nothing but, oh yeah, I think they want to make a deal and I trust them, that the stock market goes up 200 points. The fact that he has that much power, not just Donald Trump, but again, any president, that might be a hint. It might be a clue. It might be an indication that the executive office in this country is too powerful. We've talked about this before on this program. The presidency was never supposed to be this powerful in this country. It was supposed to be more administrative. The rabble, the voice of the people, was supposed to be in Congress. But the fact that presidents, again, not just Donald Trump, but every president before him, has increased their executive power. They've done it through the executive order, unilateral decisions on trade, on emergencies, on kinetic military actions. Think about it, like in all phases of the game, in all facets of the government, the presidency has gotten so much more powerful. Way more powerful than the founders intended. The fact that Donald Trump can do things like declare emergencies and then take money where Congress has the power of the purse. The fact that a president can declare an emergency and start taking money and doing things with it, it's too much power. The fact that a president can order airstrikes on another country without congressional approval. And we've seen this. We've seen this through almost every presidency. You know, it's funny because people always go back to George W. Bush in his illegal war in Iraq. And so, his illegal war. Well, he had congressional approval to do that. But through that congressional approval, I think it was the Auxiliary Force, whatever, AUMF, Auxiliary Use of Military Force Clause, that has led and opened a door for the executive to just go drop bombs anywhere and everywhere. But that was supposed to be under the whole guise of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Okay? But now it's just kind of like a blanket permission for presidents to go drop bombs everywhere. So you see it in military force. You see it in the power of the purse or the budget. And now you're seeing it in trade. Donald Trump last week saying, I hereby order all American companies to find an alternative to making their products or doing business in China. Well, he doesn't have that power. But the fact that the president has that kind of influence, it just shows that that office is way too powerful right now. I mean, think about that. Our whole economy right now is kind of at bay to the media and Donald Trump. Like a handful of companies that control the headlines and one guy. One guy. I mean, it's bad enough that 545 people control a country of 330 million. I mean, have that much control. The federal government is so bloated and overreaches so much. And I come to that number 545 very simply. 435 in the House of Representatives, 100 senators. That takes you up to 535, plus the 9 Supreme Court justices and then the President of the United States. So 545 people wield all this power. That's bad enough that small a group controls all the rules for a country as wide and varied and populous, 330 million people. But now, if you dial it even down more, one guy can go in front of a microphone and say, oh yeah, I feel good that China wants to make a deal, and then when the stock market goes up. So what? Well, then what's going to happen is somebody in the media is going to say, oh, go talk to the Chinese guy over there. The guy who's saying, no, we're not on board with a deal. We don't want a deal. We're prepared to wait this thing out. And then those headlines come out and the stock market goes down. So a handful of media companies and the president going back and forth. You're seeing all these fluctuations, not just in the stock market, but then small business owners, CEOs, decision makers, the investor class. They're all like, they make excuses then. They start saying, oh, well, there's just so much uncertainty. Who the hell's certain about anything? What is certain? Oh, yeah, it's real volatile. We don't know what the guy's going to do. He's unpredictable. Well, the future's unpredictable. You don't have a crystal ball. It ain't so crystal clear, so. Anyway, I look at this kind of stuff, and I'm like, I get the notifications on my phone about the stock market, and they're like, oh, the Dow goes up 200 points on Donald Trump's comments that he feels good. Donald Trump feels good about it? Well, it benefits Donald Trump to feel good about it because he knows that the stock market's going to respond accordingly. And then the media, they'll go, and some of them, not all of them, but many people are hoping for a recession. It's like, oh, no, we got to bat this back down. This is too good for Trump. So I don't know about you, but it's kind of scary. Not only does the president, again, the office of the president, have too much power in all these facets of the government and trickles down into our daily lives and our wallets and our 401ks. Also, it's like this battle between Donald Trump and the media. And that, are you kidding me? That those are the things that are going to tell the tale about the U.S. economy and possibly the next presidential election. That is, Well, we're going to see what happens. We got more on 2020 coming up in a little bit. Joe Biden is seeing a slide now. I think the gaffe machine has caught up with Joe Biden, but he swears he's not nuts. He's just saying, no, I'm not nuts at all. And I'll tell you about my Rubik's Cube, adding that to my resume of skills. Hopefully I can build a small business and maybe build my family's future on my new Rubik's Cube skills that's coming up. Also, Andrew Luck's retirement. Why does everybody have such strong opinions about a guy who decides he doesn't want to play football anymore? But coming up next, we've got a mayoral candidate here in Memphis who says, hey, Republicans, Memphis ain't for you. Tell you that is next right here, the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did. When you're planning an event and need on-time delivery, call Odell Sanders. Sanders Catering has been in business for 31 years, specializing in breakfast, lunch, dinners, corporate, and social events. When you need a caterer to work with your budget, call Odell Sanders at 901-372-2631 or visit them online at sanderscatering.com and take a look at their menu. Sanders Catering, a leader in catering services. Call today at 901-372-2631.
Did Jesus promise to return within the first century generation? Discover why atheists, Muslims, Jews, and even some Christians believe that Jesus is a liar and the Bible is false. Join William Bell for discussion on the end times and Bible prophecy on the All Things Fulfilled Eschatology broadcast Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KWAM